Ifeoma was born into a humble home in Enugu State. Her father was a teacher, the kind that wore his shirt neatly tucked into his trousers, with a pen always in his pocket. Her mother ran a small provision shop in front of their house. They didn't have much, but love and discipline were in abundance. From a tender age, Ifeoma had a taste for the finer things. She would sit outside and admire any flashy car that passed by. She would whine and cry if her parents did not buy her the flashy beautiful dress, shoes, and accessories that she desired. While other kids were watching cartoons, she was watching wedding videos and admired celebrity lifestyles. Mommy, one day, I will marry a man that will take me to Dubai, she did declare with all confidence at a young age of 14. Her mother would laugh and say, "My daughter, soft life is not a bad thing, oh, but try not to enter shortcuts that may cut your leg off." But Ifeoma never listened. In secondary school, she had a clique of 3 girls, and they called themselves the Queens of Wealth. During lunch breaks, instead of discussing homework, they did fantasize about marrying rich Oyibo men or relocating abroad by fire by force. They downloaded and joined dating sites before they finished secondary school. After her secondary school, Ifeoma wanted to make it quick in life. She tried many small businesses: Ankara slippers, hair cream, online makeup sales. But anytime profit didn't come quickly, she gave up. "Abeg, this hustle life no be my calling," she would say, returning to her phone to scroll through and elaborate weddings. One day, her closest friend, Amarachi, posted stunning photos of her wedding to a Chinese man. From the wedding gowns to the decoration, everything screamed wealth. Ifeoma's jaw dropped. God, when? Soon after, Amarachi invited her for a party, celebrating her husband's company expansion in Nigeria. That was where Ifeoma met Hiroshi, a soft-spoken Japanese man who smiled a lot and was curious about African culture. He wasn't exactly tall, nor her spake, but he was rich. Her dream was about coming into reality, so she thought. Within 3 months, Hiroshi began chatting her regularly. He was based in Japan, but he seemed to genuinely like her. "I like your hair," he once said, during a video call. "It's like flower. Beautiful." Ifeoma blushed. "Oh," she replied, twisting her braids, "you're so sweet." It didn't take long before he proposed. Ifeoma, who had always dreamt of a fairy tale life, screamed yes. She posted it on her Instagram page immediately. Congratulations flowed in from her fans, but one of her close friends, Ada, Ify, as she fondly calls her, "Do you know him well? Do you know anything about his culture, his people, and his lifestyle?" "I will learn everything I need to know when I get there. Besides, I already know about them, as I am learning it online," she would say. "Ah," Ada gasped. "But marriage is not all about Instagram. It is about reality," she added. But Ifeoma never listened to her advice. Her parents were skeptical. "I don't know about this," her father warned. "You want to marry a man you barely know anything about him, in a faraway land." But Ifeoma waved it off. "Daddy, love no dey look distance. This is my dream," she said. Before long, the money was sent to her for her papers. Within months, Ifeoma was on her way to Japan. At the airport, she snapped pictures and uploaded them. This continued, even on flight, until she was exhausted. The first shock hit her at the airport. When the plane landed, everything looked organized, too organized. No noise, no suya, no Okada man shouting, "Abeg shift." She looked around. "So this is Japan," she whispered. Hiroshi picked her up with a polite bow, then helped her carry her bags. "Welcome," he said, as he hardly spoke for long, due to communication barrier. As they drove home, Ifeoma noticed everything was quiet. She missed the chaos of Lagos already. At home, the second shock came. She had to remove her shoes at the entrance. "I just bought these Gucci heels," she exclaimed. The house was neat, too neat. Hiroshi's mother lived with them, and she was a clean freak. One morning, she found Ifeoma's towel on the bed, and screamed, "No! No! No!" Hiroshi calmly translated, "My mother said towel must hang, not touch bed." Ifeoma smiled awkwardly. She wanted to say something, but kept them to herself. After all, it is of no use, as they hardly understand each other. Every meal was rice, but not jollof, white rice, sushi, tofu, and soup with floating green things. "Where is my okra soup? I want to eat African meal, like eba, abacha, opa," whispered one evening. First time she tried to cook Nigerian food, getting the needed ingredients was like looking for gold. She used soy sauce in egusi soup, but the taste was different from her typical Nigerian soup. Hiroshi tried to eat the eba and egusi soup, but it turned out to be an ugly experience. As he managed to swallow few balls, he threw up and almost vomited his intestines. This made him not to ever try such thing again. Language became another mountain. At family dinners, she did sit like a statue, nodding and laughing, even when she didn't understand anything. Hiroshi's younger cousin once said, "She looks like a doll," and she didn't even know, until Hiroshi translated later, but didn't tell her the exact meaning of what he said. Even when she tried to get some things at the supermarket, she used more of signs than words, oftentimes creating a scene at such occasion. She nearly turned to deaf and mute. She was tired of the whole drama. Ifeoma started missing home, her mother's loud calls, her father's radio voice, even PHCN light wahala. She felt like a designer handbag in a fridge, pretty, but totally out of place. Months passed, and frustration grew. In Japan, everything had a time. Wake up, clean, bathe, brush, greet. If you missed one step, Hiroshi's mom would give you eyes like PHCN officials. Washing plates, you must rinse twice. Bathing, you sit inside the tub like ritual. Eating, chop with 2 sticks or go hungry. And the work culture, Lord have mercy. Ifeoma once cried, as life presented to her what she least expected. She tried joining Hiroshi at his company's dinner, and was shocked when they bowed 10 times before talking. She whispered, "If it's Niger, we would have gone far in the event." Even romantic life was not what she expected. Hiroshi was kind, but reserved. No public display of affection. "Love is quiet," he did say. But Ifeoma missed hand-holding in the market, selfies, and pillow fights. Loneliness crept in. And the worst part, she couldn't even gist with her neighbors. Everyone minded their business. "No, auntie, your hair is beautiful." Just bows and silence. One night, she broke down in tears. "Hiroshi, I don't fit in. I try, but I miss my people, my food, my noise." Hiroshi sighed. "I understand. Culture is big wall." They sat in silence, both staring at different ends of a love story, built on fantasy. The decision didn't come easily. Ifeoma fought it. What will people say? That I failed. That I left soft life behind. My parents, Ada my friend, they all warned me, but I never listened. Soft life and crave for riches led me into this. But even soft life, no sweet when your heart is hard with regret. But she summoned the courage and called. One morning, her parents were shocked when they heard her voice from the other end. Daddy, Mommy, I'm sorry that I didn't listen to you. Please forgive me. I want to come home. The phone was silent for a second before her mother screamed, she wants to come back alive. Her father simply said, come home, Ifeoma. There is always room for a second chance to learn, unlearn, and relearn. 2 weeks later, she landed in Lagos. The sun hit her skin, and she smiled. I'm back to my country, my home. Back in Enugu, her mother hugged her tight, like a lost wallet. Her father didn't say much, but that night, he had a heart-to-heart talk with her, and she promised to be a better version of herself. That night, she slept deeply. No dreams of Tokyo, just contentment, in her small, fan-blowing bedroom. It was a fresh Monday morning, and Ifeoma stood behind her mother's small provision shop, arranging packs of Indomie, and counting sachets of milk. Who would have thought? Madam Japan, how market? A neighbor teased. She smiled, without uttering a word, or bashing the woman, as she would have done before. She still had pride, oh, but now it came with a touch of sense. She learned to wake up early, stock goods, and even go to the market herself. Her mother would smile quietly, watching her daughter relearn life, in the most beautiful way. But Ifeoma wasn't just selling milk and biscuits. She was observing people's needs, their buying patterns, and something inside her began to tick again. Not greed, vision. Ifeoma's old friends couldn't believe the positive change in her life. Ifeoma started an Instagram page again, not to post fake luxury, but to sell affordable beauty products. Her caption, from Japan to Jos, real beauty, small money. Her hustle inspired many. Young girls started chatting her, sis, how did you bounce back? And she would reply with voice note, my dear, humility saved me. Japan showed me that soft life without hard work is scam. Slowly but surely, her followers grew. And so did her bank balance. One day, while checking her DMs, she saw a message from Hiroshi. Her heart jumped. He had written, I hope you're happy. I learned a lot from you. I now put pepper in my soup. I hope one day, we meet again as friends. Ifeoma smiled. For the first time, she didn't feel shame or guilt. Just peace. She replied, I hope so, too. And thank your mother. Her cleaning routine killed my laziness. She showed the message to her parents. Her father said, it's good you both learned. That's what life should be, a classroom, not a punishment. She became popular in the area. Even local bloggers started featuring her as Japan returnee with hustle spirit. One day, she was invited to speak at a youth program titled Mistakes I Made Abroad. She laughed throughout her talk, mimicking her days in Japan, how she cooked rice without knowing if it was raw fish or boiled tofu, how her husband almost passed out as a result of eating Nigerian meal. Everyone laughed with her, but deep down, they respected her honesty. One evening, at a street event, organized by the local youth council, Ifeoma walked onto the stage, with her head held high. She wasn't wearing Gucci, but her Ankara fit was fire. She shared her story, how she left Nigeria, chasing a soft life, how Japan humbled her, and how returning home made her rediscover real wealth, family, identity, and peace of mind. The crowd roared with laughter and applause. Girls took selfies with her. A few young guys even shot their shot. Her father later said, "You are now the Ifeoma your name means, something good." She smiled, held her mother's hand, and whispered, "Finally, Papa. I made it, but not how I expected." Thank you very much for watching to the end. You are my real VIP. Kindly like and subscribe. What part of the story interested you the most? Leave your comment below. Bye.